So this is the Era Fortress. You're going to be using this tension tool, which I made out of one of the keys, and you'll want this end of the pick wire. It's got the secondary bend to it and also a curve. If it's just a plain L, the end you want is in here. So you'll just have to take this nut off and swap them around. You can put it in a couple different ways. I like to have it pointing up. You're going to be picking like this. And if you're right-handed, I like this orientation. So that rubber side is against the thumb, and you have both fingers, or the nut on either side. Your fingers on either side of the nut. With the clear cover, there's a second clear piece cut out here. It's in between the lock and the main clear cover. There's a black arrow on that smaller piece. It's a little hard to see here, but it points up to this screw. You can go ahead and tighten down this screw and the top screw up here until it's snug. Just do finger tight and don't go nuts because it'll crack the clear, especially since these are tapered. Make cracks at the hole if you tighten these too much. So you just need to snug them up. With this one, because this clear piece, I put it in there because this is the inside of the cover. It has this kind of spacer for the lever pack. So that puts a little bit of extra pressure on the lever pack. So without this extra clear piece in here, the levers are too loose and your pick wire can kind of slip up between them. But this is thicker than what this is. I don't have a really thin piece that I could use. So what you want to do with this one is when you tighten it down, just as you're starting to feel resistance, in, check the levers that they come back down. You can go ahead and snug it up, just barely. That second to last lever likes to stick up. It could be any of them, but any of them stick up like that. You can go ahead and check it a couple times. But like it's doing it every time then. So I would just back off just a tiny bit. Check it again. All right, it's close because as soon as I start moving the other ones, it tends to drop. Probably needs just a little bit more. Okay. So if I let off slowly, it sticks a little bit. No, it's still coming back down. Yeah, there. I can make it stick, but for most of the time, it doesn't. That's about perfect. If you do have problems with it, you know, but that's about the area you're going to be. Maybe a little bit looser. This tensioner has a shoulder, so it'll only go in so far. And then it is actually the curtain that hits the bolt and pulls the bolt to the right. Still need that standoff to rotate the curtain though. I usually have it about 90 degrees because the pick wire is a little long. And then I just hook it in like this. Along the groove, slip it in, and rotate this up here. And bring the tensioner up. So I also like to kind of have a finger on this part of the tensioner just to keep the pick wire steady. tighten it like this. Because it's the curtain lock, the lever pack likes to get really close to the curtain here. And this is what makes picking a little extra difficult. Because you can see the curtain comes up here and here. That's why it's got that extra curve in the wire. If you've got tension on the bolt, trying to pull this pick wire up through the lever pack, you can see how like if I'm not twisting it, I'm just pulling it top to bottom, you can see them shift a little bit. So I've narrowed that down a fair bit, pick wire, so that there'll be some room there. It may catch a little bit, and if that's the case, you might want to wiggle it back and forth a little bit to see if you can get it to the next lever, but it should move fairly smoothly. They're sticking up a little bit. All right, I'm going to back off. This a little more. Yeah, so they'll drop when I wiggle the other nearby levers. So just releasing tension doesn't always drop them, but just a little wiggle will get them to drop. So I think that's good enough. Barely. Yeah, that's good. This lock has false gates. You can see one right here on this top lever. This one will only come into play if you overset this lever, but other ones will be up in this part of the lever. Those can be a pain to get back out of. This lock really is about tension control. I'm going to link a video by Chris Evans. He's got some really good advice on this. You want to go through and put some moderate tension on and see if you can feel one binding. And maybe a little difficult with the lever pack so close to the curtain. So you may have to just wiggle a few up to get some room. And you see a couple there were staying up with tension. So that's number 3. So 3 is staying and it feels kind of binding. So, yep. So I'm going to go ahead and push that up. Now it's loose, it's just wiggling. Don't push it any further. 4 is binding, and it went up and joined 3. So now both 3 and 4 are just up there. And if I tap them, feel a little wiggle. They kind of have a little resistance once they get to here. That isn't counted as binding because this part is loose. So it's either in a false gate, and at this point here, it's now trying to get out of the false gate, or you're set and you're trying to overset when you get to that point. So, but we won't know yet. So there's the last one. And I just felt a bit of rotation in the tensioner. So 6, 5 is binding. So 4 and 6 are loose, and there's just a little bit of wiggle there. But 5. So I let out a little bit of tension to get that up. Managed not to drop 4 or 6 in the process. And now I think I might have push it a little too far. 6 and 5, loose. Yeah, I think we'll try 1 and 2 and see if that does anything. So I actually got one to stay up. I probably shouldn't have because it didn't really feel like it was binding. One of the drawbacks of using the clear cover is you can use your eyes instead of feel. Try to resist that if you can. All right, 2 actually, there's resistance. It feels like it's binding, so I'm going to push 2 up. Open. So that went pretty smooth.